how did you connect with Coolio?
Yeah, so '93 when I got back from Tokyo, I lived there for 2 years. When I got back, I was focused in. I spent about maybe I got back like in like '90. I spent a couple years really just kind of working on my skills, honing in my skills on production. And when I moved to LA in '93, I got a job at Sony Pictures Movie Studio, which was the old MGM movie lot in Culver City, which is, a suburb of LA. I was working right outside as a security guard, right outside the building where John Singleton had his film company. He had his company, New Deal. He had New Deal Records, and then his film production right there. And so I was just talking, asking around, how, trying to sneak in. If they found out you was trying to make connections, you was getting fired. That was it. So I had to lay low and just kind of ask around, and they said, you got to get with this guy named Paul Stewart. And Paul, white guy, he Montell Jordan mentions him on the record on This How We Do It when he said they loved the DJ, and Paul was his name. He's talking about Paul Stewart, who was managing a lot of groups, including Coolio and Montell Jordan at the time. And everybody said, you got to get with Paul. Paul's working with John Singleton, and he's the guy to get with to try to get your music on. And so I found out who he was, and one day I slipped him a tape. And it just so happened the parking lot that I was working at was where everybody wanted to park, because it was right close to where all of the offices were, and John Singleton's office was right there. Paul was trying to get me to get him a spot, which he wasn't supposed to park there. So I said, yeah, man, listen to this tape, boom, boom, boom. And he came back. He hadn't listened to it. I was like, yo, man, I can't let you park here. You know what I'm saying? They got on me this morning. He was like, oh, man, for real, man, I said, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Did you listen to the tape? He's like, nah, man, I'm going to listen to it. I said, well, let me know, man, what you think. He got the picture. When he came back, he was bumping one of the beats that he loved. And that's how we linked up. I said, oh, I got you a spot right over here. And from then on out, we was good. He laughed. He knew what it was about. You got to listen to this music. I got you. You got me. And from that point, he had me working with his groups, which included Coolio, Montell Jordan, this other group called YNB, had a song called Chocolate Taye. I did most of their first album, including that single, and a few other groups he had. That's how it all started.
Wow. Okay. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Rest in peace to John Singleton. Definitely a giant,
Absolutely. Quiet as kept. I was the one that introduced him to Freeway Ricky Ross, and you know the rest is history with the series that's out now and all of that. So
Snowfall. Wow. Yeah, that's one of the best ones. Snowfall.
I made that introduction for him and Ricky Ross to get that kicked off.
Man, rest in peace to Coolio. I want to ask you a little bit more about that Gangster's Paradise. I met a lot of celebrities, hundreds of celebrities, but I think Coolio was the very, very first famous person I ever met. I was like in the 4th grade. I was like 9 years old. I'm from Cleveland. Then this was when Gangster's Paradise came out, because that's when I got hip to him. I mean, later on I found out about Dub C and the Mad Circle and stuff like that, but he was in the mall. He was with his DJ Fatbox, I think his name was, rest in peace. And it was me and my friend. We like 9, 8 years old, and we walked up to him. We thinking like, Gangster's Paradise, but he was real cool. He was nice. He was kind to us, and we was like in the food court, and we had got some napkins, and we asked him could he sign them, and he signed them. He talked to us for a second because there wasn't a lot of people around, mysteriously. But anyway, I had that napkin for years, man. I put it in the picture frame and everything.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you said that he was like that, because that's who he was. You know what I'm saying? Very, very personable, nice guy, down to earth. Always treated his fans like that, even when he was at the top of his game. Everybody that I've ever heard that said they met him said the same thing. He was down to earth. He was nice. He was cool. He signed autographs, whatever. And so that was him.
Yeah, because that had to be like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, record of that year. I mean, rap, R&B, country, whatever. It won a Grammy, and I looked at it recently on YouTube. It had over 1 billion views. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So he was at the top. He wasn't just a regular artist by that time. By Gangster Paradise, that was a smash. For sure.
Yeah,
What was that
it was
studio
actually
called?
at one point it was the #1 record in single in the world.
In the
And in
world,
so
right?
many
Wow.
countries it went #1, and it just really went through the stratosphere, man, and it just blew us away. It blew Coolio up. It really spearheaded my career, you know, and allowed me to be able to move on and do like stuff I did with Tupac. You probably look, if you've done the research, you know, Only God Can Judge Me, and rather be an NIGGA and all those other, you know, artists I work with. So that Gangster Paradise kicked all that off, you know.
Right, right. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about it because back then, was you in that session, or did they just kind of just made the beat and then they recorded it afterwards?
Oh no, we worked together. We did the demo at the house. I mean, look, me and Paul, by that time we were roommates. We had rented a mansion. We said we going all out. It's make a bus, you know, to the top of bus. So we rented a mansion, and we started throwing. Paul, you know, he was real popular in the city. He threw parties all the time. Everybody was at the house all the time. I mean, all kind of celebrities. It was you know, Tyrese was just a kid. He used to come over all the time. Ray J
Wow.
used to come through. I mean, all kinds of celebrities. And so I made the beat right there. I had my studio set up in the house. You know, LV came through and we did like the hook, and you know, Coolio came through one night. I think he was just coming to get a check or something, but we were having a get together, a barbecue or something. And then when he walked in, he heard the beat. He's like, "Man, what's that beat? Man, that's yours?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I want that. I want that." And I said, "You got it," because I knew he was working on an album. So I talked LV into, because me and LV had actually started working on it. We were going to do the whole song on him. And, you know, I was like, look, man, we need to do it on Coolio. Coolio got a deal. He just had a #3 hit, like, you know, early, a year and a half earlier than that with the Fantastic Voyage. So we just thought it was a good idea to put it on him. And it was a no-brainer. You know, he came with that magic. And we went and recorded it in the studio. So everything was done from start to finish as a production with all of us involved. It wasn't no sending of the masters and not being in the studio. I've done records like that, and they still come out. You know, it still works. But we work together on those.